We can just go ahead and give it a minute or two as folks join us. And it looks like folks are starting to join us, so that's fantastic. As folks are continuing to come in, just a quick note, I'm Audra Montoya. I am our Employee Programs Coordinator here at CSU. And we have Sam Snyder and Rosemary Thompson from Elevation Community Land Trust joining us, and they are going to share some really cool information about the programs that they have in our community. And we are recording this, so that will get posted to the Employee Housing Programs website as well. We folks can ask questions as we go along, and I'll kind of keep an eye on the chat so that folks can ask those questions. And then if there will hopefully be time at the end for any additional questions as well. Um, but Sam and Rosemary, if you all want to go ahead and get started, I'm really thankful that you all are here and are able to share your program with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. I'm really excited to talk about our program and our homes. I am Sam. I am the Community Engagement and Communications Manager for Elevation Community Land Trust. And Rosemary, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to share with you about Elevation Community Land Trust, and I work with people through the whole application process.
All right, I'll just jump in and people can catch up as they join. So, we are Elevation Community Land Trust. We were founded in 2017. We didn't sell our first home until 2019, though, so we're a relatively young organization. We were founded by a collective of private foundations who knew that there were several affordable rental providers in the state, but recognized the great need for affordable home ownership in Colorado. And so that is why we were created. And our mission is to create equitable opportunities for individuals and families through permanently affordable homeownership. So, what is a community land trust? We separate homes from the land. And the reason we do this is for a couple of reasons. One is to make the home more affordable by taking out the price of the land from the home. So, oftentimes for market homes, the land is about 30% of the cost. So it makes it more affordable, but also it creates this land lease mechanism, which is kind of serves as a deed restriction. So as I said before, these are permanently affordable homes, so we want to make sure that they stay affordable in the future. So that's why there are a few restrictions on the home. We don't want people using these homes on Airbnb and things like that. So there's a couple of restrictions, but you can have a roommate, you can rent out a room. It just has to be at an affordable rate. And there is a small land lease fee. We are balancing these kind of guiding principles for our organization. So, as I was just talking about, long-term affordability is really important. We want to make sure that these homes continue to be affordable, and that's through the shared appreciation resale formula. But we also really care about housing and financial stability for the individual and for those individuals and families who buy our homes. So we want them to have the benefit of homeownership. We still want you to build equity and generational wealth. Um, and most of our homeowners are people who would likely otherwise be renting or displaced because it's just too expensive to live in your community. And then the last element is stewardship. So we really care about being a community. We're called a community land trust, right? And so when people buy their homes, we're not just like, see you later. We want to make sure that people have support. And like I said, most of our homeowners are first-time homeowners, so we want to make sure that they're equipped with resources and support and understand the responsibilities of homeownership. And we also really care about fostering collective power and democratic decision making. So we really want the input of our homeowners when we make changes or um, make certain decisions in our organization. So we have several homeowners on our board of directors, and then we're often asking our homeowners about certain decisions in other ways. So this slide shows our impact and gives you an idea of the scale of our organization. Most community land trusts are much smaller and more local. We are statewide. So we have over 500 homes, and about 330 of those are homeowner occupied. And so the difference between those numbers is because we have some units that are currently being rented and converted into homeownership. We also have homes that we're just selling right now, and then some under construction. And as you can see up here, the majority of our homes for sale are in the Denver metro area and in Fort Collins. But we also have a few homes in rural areas or places that, we've just already sold the home. So we have a couple in Longmont as well. Um, Below you can see 57% of our households identify as people of color, 42% identify as female head of households, and then the most important part is here in the bottom right. You can see the huge difference between the median home price on the market, which is over 600,000 in Colorado, versus our median home price is 270,000. So that's the main reason or way that we make homeownership more accessible to folks is that it's just a much more affordable price. We have several different types of homes. We have condos, single family, and townhomes. These townhomes are on the right are in Fort Collins, and we'll talk about those more later. This is how to apply. So there's 4 steps. It used to be that you had to get through the full application before you could go under contract on a home. Now we've made it so that if you have your eye on a specific home and you're excited about that one, you can actually go under contract before you're fully finished with the application. So you do have to fill out an interest form. It's really easy. If we have time, I'll show you on our website how to click through to all these different parts, but this takes about 5 minutes and it kind of just gives you a quick idea if you would probably qualify or not. So you do have to do that first and then get pre-approved with an ECLT qualified lender. So we have a pretty long list of lenders that we work with, and it's just to make sure that they understand our program. And so once you have a pre-approval and you're approved for a loan that kind of matches the price of the home that you want, and we'll talk about down payment assistance as well. But then you can go under contract and then you can finish the full application. There's some paperwork, there's some forms you got to fill out, and then you can close on your home. So we do have income limits because we do want to make sure that these homes are people who are low to middle income. So the way that you read this chart is you look at the household size, and then we're going to be focusing on this FMR income limits. So if you're a household of 1, you can't be making more than 71,500, etc. And so you do have to count your full household income. Anyone over 18, you have to add that up to see what your household income is. And this does change every year. So next year, it's usually kind of in the middle of the year. I forget exactly when, early summer, we get new income limits. So this is the interest form I was talking about. We have this lender list, which again, I'll make sure everyone has the links to know how to look this up. This is down payment assistance. There are a lot of different pots of down payment assistance. These can be in the form of a grant or a loan. We currently have $50,000 available of down payment assistance for individuals and applicants for Bird Whistle and then another property in Denver. So this is really exciting, and this is definitely available for a limited time. So that's why I really encourage people to apply if this is something you're interested in, specifically for the bird whistle townhomes, which I'll be showing you soon, but um, definitely something to keep in mind. And then this is the required documents page for the application. This is just a little bit of myth busting. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page about these items. So some people are like, well, if I don't own the land, it's not real home ownership. And kind of the point I like to make is someone who owns their own condo unit, they're even on the market, they're not going to own the land underneath, but you still get the benefits of home ownership. Elevation homes are only for families. That's not true. There are a lot of like single person uh, households in our community. And then Elevation Community Land Trust will take some of your equity. That's not true. We kind of have to often clarify that equity and appreciation are two different things. Equity is everything that you're putting down on the home with your down payment and your mortgage. So we don't touch that. You take all of that at the end. And that's the big benefit of, homeownership versus renting, right? Like you get to see that money. And then you can't pass your home onto an heir. You actually can pass your home to an heir with our program. And let's say you pass it to your kid. When they inherit the home, they actually don't have to income qualify to inherit the home, which I think is really great. And then you can't make changes to your home. You absolutely can make changes to your home. That's the really exciting thing about home ownership is you can paint your walls, you can do renovations. We actually have something called qualified capital improvements. So for bigger changes, and they have to fit into certain categories, but if it's adding square feet like a garage, or if it's adding accessibility or energy efficiency, you can actually get extra credit that adds to your appreciation when you sell the home, if you talk to us about it first. So those are kind of what I was just talking about. And then I've talked about a lot of this, but kind of just shows how homeownership is really beneficial when you compare it to renting, looking at the ownership of your home, long-term control of your payments. That's a big thing. We send out a survey to our homeowners, and that's something that we've heard a lot is homeowners saying, I now have a peace of mind because my housing payments are stable. I know my landlord isn't going to just raise the rent because I own my home and I've locked into a fixed payment. And so people just feel much more at ease. They have more stability in their lives because they have that constant. They're also able to build generational wealth. It's an appreciating asset, and you can make changes and build credit. Have there been any questions? Or are we good so far? Okay, great.
None so far.
So these are the bird whistle townhomes. These are amazing. Rosemary and I have gone out to visit these, and they're just so beautiful. They're brand new townhomes. They're 3 bedroom and under $300,000, which is wild. And we have garages. Like I said, there's the down payment assistance available, 3 bath as well. And then I just wanted to show where these are. So this is southeast Fort Collins, right next to Twin Silo Park. Really beautiful area, close, like right across from Fossil Ridge High School, and there's some other schools in the area too. Um, but yeah, these are amazing. We still have a few left. Brand new appliances, definitely worth checking out. Oh, also, our real estate agents who are listing these homes are hosting a pie and coffee on next week on the 19th. So I'll get you guys more information about that, but that would be a good opportunity to go check these out. We also have these really beautiful single family homes in Fort Collins. I do want to emphasize we don't have that many single family homes in our portfolio all across the state. So this is really exciting that these are in Fort Collins. They're really big. They have big yards. And these have been rehabbed with all new appliances, hardwood floors, and there's several of them. So these are Western Fort Collins, pretty close to Horsetooth Reservoir. Really, really great deal as well, kind of low 300s. I have another one here. This is on Rocky Road. This is also pretty large, with yards, 3 bed, 1 bath, single family. I have, oh, that's all I have. I would love to answer questions. Also, Rosemary, do you have any comments you'd like to make? I know I kind of rushed through that.
Well, we welcome your questions. If you have any doubts if you're thinking about home ownership and you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Let us know um, what you might want to know about the program, how it works.
And while we're waiting for those questions, I'll just show you, this is our website, elevationclt.org. I just want to show you where some of those important resources are. So if you go to buy a home, qualify and apply, you can see the steps. And then if you click on each step, there's more documents below. So this is the interest form, income limits. So you can go ahead, click on the interest form. We also have it in Spanish. And then we have income limits here. So you can see for the different areas. So you'll definitely want Larimer County. And then this is where you see the lender. So that's the second step, down payment assistance resources. And then these are ratios. So this is about debt to income ratio. And then we have participating lenders here. And it's always good to compare rates and see which one works best for you. And
I'm not
also,
seeing any questions so far, but I was wondering if maybe we could add either a phone number and email into the chat for so in
yes,
case someone has questions, but they're hesitant to post them where other people can see them, if they might be able to reach out to one or both of you.
absolutely. I'm gonna put my email in here.
Oh, we have a couple questions. So the first one is, are there stipulations on selling? Must I reside in the home for a minimum amount of time? And what does ECLT take when I sell?
Yeah, these are great questions. So the main stipulation with selling is that there's limited appreciation. So it's a 25% of appreciation is what you take after you sell. There's no minimum amount of time, but basically, obviously the longer you're in the home, the more it appreciates. So again, you take all of the equity and 25% of appreciation. Sometimes people ask, oh, so elevation's just taking the rest of the appreciation. What are you doing with that money? So we're not really taking anything. The appreciation kind of just stays in the home. So that's the way that we make sure that the home stays affordable. So we allow 25% of appreciation to be added to the cost, but that way the home is still at a lower price than market. And then I see another question. Oh, and the other stipulation I would say too is it does have to go to an income qualified person. So the next person you sell it to does have to go through the same process, application process, in order to buy the home. But you can work with your own real estate agent, um, for that process. If I'm a single person looking to move into my own place, but anticipate a partner moving in with me. So basically, once you're in the home, like once you're qualified and you buy the home, we're never checking your income again. So if you end up with a partner moving in, or maybe you get a huge raise, we don't check that, it doesn't matter. So it's probably actually a really good time to apply for the home if you're currently single and you do meet the requirements, you're underneath that, um, because we're not checking after that. If you are like for somebody who's married and they're trying to buy it themselves, like that's kind of more tricky. and probably wouldn't work because you'd see that combined income. But if you're single, then that's totally fine, and it's totally fine if your income changes. I just put my email chat as well.
Thank you.
I think on that note too, something that I like to tell people, because I think often homeownership can be very scary for people, and they think, I'm just going to wait a few years. I want to wait till I have more savings. And I think kind of one of my suggestions is for some people, I think they're more ready than they think, especially with our homes. We only require people to have $3,000 to buy a home with us. And 1,000 is for the down payment. And so we really want to make this accessible for people. And with all of the down payment assistance resources and things like that, it actually really could be accessible to you. It's always better to start saving now. So once you're in one of these homes, you can build that equity, and then maybe later down the road, you can use that to buy a market rate home.
I would just add that there is a no minimum amount of time that you need to reside in the home, except for 9 months out of the year. So this home would be your principal residence.
Yeah,
So say, for example, you have plans to travel during the summer, you could rent out the whole house for 3 months out of the year.
thank you.
Another option is to, um, some people are applying, if you're applying with someone else, say you have a roommate right now, and the way the application works is that we would consider the income for the whole household. If you were to get a roommate later on and then rent out your room, then the application would consider only, your income. And then later on, you would have a lease with that roommate for them to lease the room in your home.
Yeah, that's a
I've
good
heard this
point.
question from some other folks before, Sam and Rosemary, but with the $3,000 that folks have to have, can those be gifted funds? Does that have to be something they prove that that's their own money?
I think only 1,000 of that has to be your own savings, and 2,000 can be a gift. Right, Rosemary?
Yes, prior to closing, they do need to show that that is cash that's available to them um, in their account. So 1,000 would be used at the signing of the contract, and 2,000 is essentially to ensure that if something were to happen in the future, when after they purchase the home, they have that cash available to fix the furnace, for example, if something
Mhm.
were to, be wrong with the furnace. Of course, purchasing a new home, you may have a warranty on new appliances, but that's just to ensure that people have that, are prepared if something does come up with the home.
All right,
We do
well,
have
oh, go ahead.
we do have an asset guide on our website if you're wanting to review your assets. There is an exemption for certain people, depending on your age, your life situation. So that's important to consider if you're looking at the asset limits. Also, there is a ratio guide if that's something of interest as well, to look at how we look at the ratios in terms of qualification. And one important point is also that the application with Elevation Community Land Trust is separate from the lender application. So there will be two different qualifications.
No, that's a good point. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Rosemary has a really good understanding of kind of more specific questions for specific household situations. So we'll definitely get you her email, and number as well.
Traditionally, I have a quick question for that
Yeah,
might be helpful for folks as well. Traditionally, when someone is getting ready to go buy a home, the first thing that they do is get qualified with a lender. If some of the folks who are listening today or who listen to the recording are interested, is their first step to get qualified with one of your lenders or to get qualified with you or to be working on both of those at the same time?
that's a really good question. That is a pretty early step. So usually what we recommend is you fill out the interest form, we get some of your basic information, and then we'll be automatically sending an email with all the information about lenders and give you an opportunity to kind of pick one, and you can always call other lenders as well. And then we'll start the pre-approval process. Um, and then you kind of start working on the full application. So we do populate the application with all the information and documents that you send to the lender will go into the application. So you are kind of getting a head start on the application in that way and to make it a little bit easier so that people aren't, replicating that task. Um, and then there's just like a few more documents, and you do have to go through a home ownership class and an orientation to understand our program. Um, but you can do that after you go under contract.
That's great. I appreciate it. And I'm checking and I'm not seeing any additional questions. But if folks have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to Sam or Rosemary. Their questions about any of the CSU programs we have, you're welcome to reach out to me. And if
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
questions about ECLT and you're not sure and you want to reach out to me to get connected with ECLT, I'm happy to do that as well. And I super appreciate both of you taking the time to be here and to all of you who took some of your lunch hour to join us and learn more about this program. I hope that it has been helpful.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.